The Aged Parent Visa, subclass 804, is a permanent visa that allows older parents of Australian citizens, permanent residents, or eligible New Zealand citizens to live in Australia permanently. This visa is designed for parents who are of pension age or close to pension age and wish to reunite with their children in Australia. Here's a detailed guide to the Aged Parent Visa, subclass 804, including the eligibility requirements, application process, and key information. The Aged Parent Visa, subclass 804, is a permanent residency visa that allows parents of Australian citizens, permanent residents, or eligible New Zealand citizens to live in Australia permanently, provided they meet certain requirements. It is designed for parents who are older and wish to live in Australia with their children. To apply for the Aged Parent Visa, the applicant must be of pension age, which is the age at which a person becomes eligible for the Australian government's age pension. The pension age is gradually increasing from 65 to 67, depending on the applicant's date of birth. You must be the parent of an Australian citizen, an Australian permanent resident, or an eligible New Zealand citizen. Your child must be settled in Australia, meaning they have been living in Australia for a certain period of time, usually 2 years, and they must be able to support your application. You must pass the Balance of Family test, which means that at least half of your children must be living in Australia as citizens or permanent residents, or more of your children must be living in Australia than in any other country. You must meet the health and character requirements set by the Australian government, which may involve undergoing a health examination and providing police clearance from your home country. You must have an assurance of support from an eligible Australian sponsor, who can be your child or another relative who is willing to provide financial support in case you need it during your stay. Before applying for the visa, you need to collect and prepare the necessary documents, which may include proof of identity, evidence of the relationship to the Australian citizen or permanent resident, proof of the Balance of Family test, health examination results, police clearance certificates, and assurance of support from your sponsor. You can apply for the Aged Parent Visa, subclass 804, online through the IMI account on the Department of Home Affairs website. You will need to fill out the application form and upload all supporting documents. The visa application fee for the Aged Parent Visa, subclass 804, is typically around AUD 4,100, but it may vary. This fee must be paid online during the application process. The Aged Parent Visa, subclass 804, is a non-priority visa, and the processing time can be lengthy. It may take several years for your visa application to be processed due to the high demand and the limited number of visas available each year. As this is a permanent visa, you will not need to apply for a temporary visa while waiting, but you should ensure your current visa allows you to remain in Australia while waiting for the decision. Once your visa application is processed, you will receive a decision. If your visa is approved, you will be granted permanent residency in Australia, and you can live, work, and study in the country indefinitely. The Aged Parent Visa, subclass 804, is a permanent residency visa, meaning that once granted, you can live in Australia indefinitely, work, study, and access Medicare. This visa allows parents to reunite with their children in Australia, which is particularly valuable for older parents who wish to live with their family in their later years. As a permanent resident, you may be eligible to apply for Australian citizenship after living in Australia for a certain period, usually 4 years, with at least 1 year as a permanent resident. The visa is permanent, meaning there is no restriction on how long you can stay in Australia once granted. As a permanent resident, you have the right to work in Australia without restrictions. It is recommended that you maintain health insurance while living in Australia. As a permanent resident, you may be eligible for Medicare, but certain waiting periods may apply for new residents. Once you are granted permanent residency, you can leave and re-enter Australia as often as you like, although you may need to apply for a resident return visa if you plan to travel abroad after the first 5 years. The Aged Parent Visa, subclass 804, has a long processing time, often taking several years. The exact processing time can vary depending on the number of applications being processed, the complexity of the case, and the completeness of the application. Since this is a non-priority visa, applicants who are not in Australia or who are not in urgent need may experience longer wait times. Given the long waiting times for the aged parent visa, subclass 804, some applicants consider alternative visa options. The parent visa, subclass 103, is similar to the aged parent visa, subclass 804, but has a similar long processing time. This visa also allows parents to live permanently in Australia. The contributory parent visa, subclass 143, allows parents to migrate to Australia permanently, but it has a higher application fee and faster processing times compared to the aged parent visa. This visa requires parents to make a significant financial contribution to the Australian government. If you are looking for a temporary option, the temporary parent visa, subclass 870, allows parents to stay in Australia for up to 5 years while waiting for their permanent visa to be processed. The aged parent visa, subclass 804, has some of the longest waiting times of all Australian visas, which can be a major challenge for applicants who are eager to reunite with their family. There are a limited number of visas available each year under the aged parent visa program, leading to long processing times and a backlog of applications. Applicants who do not meet health or character requirements may face challenges in obtaining the visa. The aged parent visa, subclass 804, provides an opportunity for older parents to reunite with their children in Australia and live there permanently. While the visa offers a permanent residency pathway, applicants should be prepared for lengthy processing times and meet strict eligibility criteria. Additionally, other parent visa options may be considered for quicker processing, or if the applicant is not yet eligible for the aged parent visa,